on because I am a guy and I don't look sometimes when it's hard for a preacher to preach about abortion, and that was the word of the day is abortion because we don't go through pregnancy, I know everybody says woman's body, woman's right. Uh no, God's body, God's right. That's where people get the most biggest mistake from because there is a God that gave you something, right? Because here's the thing, a lot of people don't realize, and as I was reading this, um, it's so true. And I know a little bit of it because I've been through a little bit of it. But when you have a baby out of wedlock, sinful, and anything like that, and you have abortion, you will pay a price. Yeah, I mean, people don't realize they pay a price. You pay a price, um, because you think about it. It's not something that you just, oh, I had abortion, so what? And you say, how do you know this? Is because we didn't have an abortion, but I think in September, my wife, and this is 1998, no, 97, 97. And you say, how do you know? Because I can tell you the whole story. Um, she got pregnant. And in October, we started telling people because that's when we really found out. Early November, she had a miscarriage. And sorry, babe, if you didn't want this public. I mean, I should have asked you. Sorry. Uh, I ask for forgiveness when I get home. This is just what Lord led on my heart. I think we talked about it. She's okay. She talked about it, but we had a miscarriage, and we were a month in, maybe a month and a half in, and to me, nothing changed. We already had our daughter, and I wasn't grieving like she was. And it brung us almost to the point of divorce because she was grieving hard because she lost a child. I lost a child, and I was trying to be the man, the strength, and I wasn't given the comfort. And it really separated our household. I and the doctor gave her clear of everything in December. And if it wasn't because of the miracle, and I always say this of my son Joseph, she got pregnant at the end of December with Joe. And she actually, you count the days, and people are like, how's that happen? Because I think she got pregnant early December. We found out late December she was pregnant, and he was born in July. You count that up, he's like, that's only 8 months. And I was like, yeah, but if you count it just right, end of July, it's almost 9. And he was a month early. He was a preemie. He was 5 pounds, 3 ounces, right? Little thing. Right? I mean, really tiny. And so the Lord blessed us there at that point because we were, and you said, what happened? I went to the Lord and said, Lord, I know I'm drifting away from my wife. I'm trying everything to be a godly man. I'm the man of the house. I'm strong. I'm withstanding the loss of a child. What am I supposed to do else? Am I just supposed to fall apart? Right? And she didn't understand why I wasn't falling apart. Right? And she was praying, can I, Lord, can I be stronger? Can I be, right? Why am I falling apart? And he's not. And were we wrong? No, it's just the way were built at that point in time. And we weren't seeing eye to eye, and we stopped communicating really, right? Because it was just like, get over it. And it's like, why are you over it already? And that's why I said my son was a miracle. When you have an abortion, you will pay a price for it. It will bother you because it still bothered me. I mean, my son's what, 27 now, right? Almost 28. And that still bothered me how we didn't just sit down and have that communication. And you'll break a bond from God, right? And you go, well, what about mothers that have that baby? You're still going to pay a price, right? Abortion, you're going to pay a bigger price. You have the baby, don't mean your life's going to be easy if you have the baby out of wedlock, single mom. You're not going to be like, oh, I did what the Lord said was right. Life's going to be No, because me and my wife was married, or still married for 30 years. We ain't had it easy, and we live for the Lord. You don't get it easy just because you do what's right. Right? Now, don't make it, your life might be a lot easier if you do have a child. You know why? Because you're going to have that love of that child. And don't get me wrong. If you feel like you're not able, you want to give it up for adoption, I have no issues with adoption if you feel like you can't take care of it. Adoption is not a bad thing in the Bible because look at Moses, right? He was adopted child, right? Lord can do so much with kids that are adopted, right? And, but just abort it, God can't do anything with them. I mean, once they're in the grave and gone, you can't do nothing with them. And so it's really hard. And a lot of my notes were, it says, when does human life begin? Well, first, it's your body. You take care of you. Once the Lord gives you a husband or a man in your life or a woman in your life, you need to get married before you do anything because that's where people get the mistake of is, oh, we can fool around and then all of a sudden you get the cost of a child. Oh, let's get rid. Well, one, it was your sin, not the child's sin. You're aborting a child, and the one man, I'm gonna get in big trouble. That's why I said this one's hard for men, mostly men. I wish I had my wife up here talking about what the women, because she agrees with me mostly, and there'd be one or two that she like later on she'll tell me you need to be careful. And the one is, and this is where I have a stickler, is if a man and a woman has a baby together, why is it only the woman's right to have an abortion? Because if it's her right to keep it and make him pay child support for 18 years, should be his right also to keep the baby. I don't think it's a one parent decision to abort a baby. I don't think it's anybody's decision. It's God's decision to abort a baby, right? For some reason, God didn't let us have the one baby that in October. For some reason, I think it helped me and my wife grow a little bit as people. Now we can talk to people that had a loss of a child, right? Now some people might have done the loss of the child on their own abortion, but we've been through that because you get an abortion and you don't realize how it'll change you, right? Just because my wife was the sweetest woman you wanted to meet, and she gave to everybody. That 1 month, I've never seen her in that way since then. That before or after. What she was going through, I couldn't tell you. I mean, she was emotionally different. And that's where I kind of drew nigh because I'm like, who is she? She's not the woman I met. She's not the woman I married. And she's never been that woman since. Right? Because that grief there, and don't get me wrong, she probably still grieves that moment in time. Her mom, I think your mom lost two like that. Four? Four. Okay, four. Right? I didn't know that. Right? I thought it was only two. So four. Right? And sorry, Marie, putting it out there. That's my mother-in-law. But she had four, and I didn't know that was common in her family at all. And I don't know if Angie knew that until she was older about that. And so her mom went through that to help her daughter out. Angie might have gone through it to help somebody else out. And that's where God gives you opportunity like that. And don't get me wrong, if you ever did an abortion, God don't hate you. God's not going to abandon you. But you did take one of his children off this earth. Is it murder? I think it is. Because I still don't know how a government works today. How a man can punch a pregnant woman in the stomach, she has a miscarriage, and he can go to jail for murder. But the same woman can abort that same baby, and it's not murder. I don't get that. It's either murder or murder. I think it's murder, period. Bible says it's murder. It's not our choice. And so I said, we already said that. Sorry about that. Looking at some of my notes here, or where I made my notes from. I don't know what you heard, Russ. I left my whole notebook and everything at home today. Both messages sitting right there. I don't know how I did. My Bible was in the car. I was using a study Bible I have at home. And I grabbed my notebook. I put it right there at the coffee table. And when I got in the car, I grabbed my Bible, and I don't know why I left my notebook at home. I just bought it yesterday, too. So that's terrible. All right. and we know abortion's wrong in God's eyes. How can I pursue justice and mercy with the abortion issue? Oh, here's one, right? And this is where men and women take effect in this is we think that, oh, it's a woman's choice. She get to decide abortion clinics. No, they're wrong, right? There shouldn't be abortion clinics. I think doctors that don't set their moral values. Don't get me wrong. I would never tell a woman that she has to keep a baby, right, or get rid of a baby because of health. I believe God would take care of either one, right, during the circumstance. Because I've seen too many times. I believe I want to make sure I get it right. Um, I think I don't think it was me. I think it was my cousin Steven, and there's a couple more. My cousin Steven is now almost 40. Yeah, I think he is 40 something. Good night. I'm getting old. Right? Because he's only a couple years behind me. He's 40 some years old. You know, they told my aunt to abort the baby because he wouldn't make it past the age of 18. I don't know what the disease is where your bones cause to roll up. Your whatever that is, he was going to have that issue, and they were only going to be able to keep him alive until he was 18. And they told him to abort the baby. He's 40 years old and never had no issues with his bones. I think he was born in 1980. If that tells you how old he is now, so he's in his 40 something, or is that Frankie? No, Frankie's a little bit younger than him, but I think it was 1980. So, so Stephen is ain't supposed to be alive today. If she would abort that baby, he wouldn't be alive today. He's alive because his mom kept him. Now, my Aunt Janie had many kids by many men, but she never aborted any of her babies. And so a couple of them could serve God, you know. We don't know, you know. That's what blows my mind so much about when people say, oh, this baby ain't gonna have a great life. How do you know? Um, I even tell my wife, uh, a kid in a wheelchair. Just say they tell you he'll never speak, never see, nothing, but and you have him, and that is the case. He never sees, never, and you're like, why did I have this child? They told me to get rid of, but God put you in a certain situation. Now you're going to be in certain places that I can't go to, you can't go to, but a person with a baby that can't see, can't blind, wheelchair, have special programs. You're talking about the Lord to them. God put you in that situation because he needs you there. Not to say, oh, I'm using my child to preach the word. No, you love your child. You're giving the best care, but you are talking about, look what the Lord gave you. Um, I've talked about that at my niece's funeral, and how many of us do take that for granted is, you know, my niece lived to be 21 years old. You go, oh, that's so sad. I had 21 years with her. I wasn't guaranteed tomorrow. I got 21 years. You know what? I took it for granted. I thought I'll have 20 more. My sister took it for granted. I mean, how many of us think we'll see our kids on Father's Day, on Mother's Day? We take it for granted because oh, Joey ain't gonna be watching. My son on Mother's Day did stop by though. He did see you. We were gonna see each other Saturday. He had plans for Mother's Day with his wife and daughter. So he was doing something for his wife for Mother's Day. Didn't bother us, but he just never told us that he wasn't going to see his mom on it's Mother's Day. You got to go see mom on Mother's Day. And we just thought, man, how rude, you know, because, and he's like, well, I mean, I would have made plans to see her another day. And I'm like, but you didn't call her immediately and tell her. We found out this way. And it's, but I told man, I told my wife this, and I did. I said, you know, me and you always made plans to see mom and stuff and see or talk to your mom. My mom's gone now. I took it for granted. You know, I said, he'll take it for granted when you're gone until you're gone. You know, he thinks he'll have him next year's Mother's Day. the next year? What if we're not here? I mean, what if mom and dad don't make it home today? We take it for granted. I mean, um, it's and that's where abortion we take it granted because I've seen my aunt Flo. She did things in her life. She got paid for things with men. Her pimp did self abortions to the women, and she couldn't have kids. She adopted kids because she couldn't have kids because of that. Sometimes you get abortions, that might be the only child you ever have. And then you missed out on the gift of God because you got an abortion. And I don't know anybody's situation except my wife and mine, right? So if I'm hitting on some people on Facebook, or I'm sorry, I'm not being mean about that, but the Lord might not bless you with another child. Some women never had a child, would have loved to have that one child. Because me and Angie, I think, while we were in Florida, we were actually talking about adopting another child. We were looking into it. It would have been hard, but I don't know why we were looking for adoption. But that's what we talked about is we love our 3 kids, but if we could ever help out any other kid, we'll take another kid in. I don't want a baby again. I love the 5 years old and older, right? But baby, my grandkids wear me out. And I just don't think I could do a crying baby again. I mean, my nerves just, because when they start crying, that I'm like, guys, knock that off. Or the just bloody scream like they're being killed for nothing. And it's just like, no. I don't know how God gave me the patience. But that's just where God does do that. Well, here, lastly, he says, God promised, right? We know God will be merciful for anybody, because even like people in prison that kill people, God will forgive them. So if you ever murdered a newborn or murdered a baby in the belly, God will forgive you for it. Don't get me wrong. God forgives everything. But I don't think God will look highly on you. You lose awards in a heaven if you do it. And so we just got to say, in Limitation 22:23 says, it is it is of the Lord's mercy that we are not consumed, because he is compassionate. Fail not. They are new every morning, great in thy faithfulness. So he gives us mercy every day. Because to be honest with you, Paul said it best, right? We sin daily. For somebody that hates sin, think about the worst thing that you hate. My glasses are filthy, and I washed them this morning. If think about the worst thing you hate, the thing that you hate the most, and somebody did it to you daily, every day, would you want that person around you again? God hates sin, and we do it daily. He forgives us and forgets daily. It's merciful, right? Even abortion, even murder, anything. So that's something that we can look into. I'm going to jump into the next word of the day, right? Because we got a few minutes, right? And this one is short. That's why I'm going to go ahead and jump into it. The word is absence, right? And we're in Sunday school. I'm going to throw out a couple questions. Facebook, I'll try to repeat their answers, right? The word absent. If I said, hey, absent, what is your definition? What would you think? Missing, not there, right? That's because I was doing abortion. My first thought was not having sex, absence, but missing, not there. And that was the first thing that popped in my head, right? Because I was, like I said, I was doing abortion, and I was like, absence. But that's where here it says the absence is a good and bad thing. Because if we're absent from the Lord, we're doing bad things. If we're absent from our loved ones, it's not good. But if we're absent from sin, if we're absent from, and don't get me wrong, when we're absent from our loved ones, sometimes that's a good thing because uh, I always, I if you ever see the welcome home soldiers coming home or coming home videos, man, you watch, I'm crying from, I mean, I'm tearing up all the time. I love them. I love them. And that because it reminded me a lot of times when I got back home to the station and Angie's standing there. And I'm like, oh, give him that hug for a week or two. Like Russ, like going on his trip. Man, when you get back, man, you ever get back and she wasn't home? Right? She was at work or something. She was somewhere else, like just for an hour or something. Like you got home and she wasn't there. You're almost disappointed to be back home. Because I had that, because you're like, I was wanting that hug. I was wanting that kiss. I wanted that. And then all of a sudden she shows up like, man, where you been? And now you're all excited again. But when you're coming home, you're like, that last corner, I get to see it. It's not home. No. And let it be more than an hour and you're driving yourself. That's why I think I'm bald. Right? I pulled out hair or something. Right? Absence is a good thing, but also it's a bad thing. We don't want to be absent from the Lord. We definitely want to be present. Here's the craziest thing. You ever been in the loneliest time and the Lord just don't seem to be there? Been there. I've been there. But this is what I was told. And I said, I never thought about it like that. You know what happens is when the Lord don't seem there, the Lord said something to you and you built this little small wall, right? But he's still right there. And then he said something else, so you build it a little bit higher. All of a sudden, you're in this deep trouble. Like, where's the Lord at? He's still right there. You need to tear down that wall you built between you and him. The Lord never left us. That's what the craziest thing is. A lot of time we build these walls and we don't want to see what the Lord trying to tell us. We feel absent because my wife is pulling away from me. My kids are pulling away from me. Everybody's gone. I'm here by myself. What's going on? Why am I by myself? Well, one, because I built this wall and the Lord's like, I'm right here. Just tear down the wall. He said, if you want me to do it, just mention it. It'll be gone. A lot of time we want to tear. All right, I'll take down. All right, I can see your head. All right, the Lord's there. I'm okay. We don't. But we leave that. But then all of a sudden we put that brick back when we don't need them. Oh, everything's good again. Me and my wife good again. But stay on that side. We're like that. I mean, we're like that as humans. We build walls so many times, but what we don't do, and we have the wall against sin, and it's great, but then the enemy just knocking one brick at a time. But we're worried about keeping this one up. We're not watching that one. And that's what happens a lot of times. I've been guilty of that. Let that wall get tore down. Let Satan in my life doing things to me that, man, it ain't that bad. It's okay. But then all of a sudden, a year later, and I'm like, it ain't bad. Sometimes I look at my kids and see some of the things I did wrong as a parent, and I'm paying the price today for it. My grandkids are paying the price for it because me as a dad. My great-grandkids will pay a price for it, right? That's where it says generation after generation. You know why? Because my son is doing things that I did. Now he's doing, and he's putting a little bit, and then he's putting a little bit more on it. It wasn't bad. Dad did this. I'm a good kid, but now it's a little bit worse, and it gets a little worse. And before we know it, our kids don't go to church, or our great-grandkids don't go to church. I mean, you think about, you go up on this mountain and almost every great-grandparent went to church. Only half of the great-grandparents. And then the grandparents, a quarter of them, and what, 10% of the kids now? And the grandbabies, none of them go. Right? I mean, and that's the truth of it. And the cycle's going to get worse. Oh, I'm a Christian, but I mean, we've had 10 people from Suck Creek Mountain at this church besides our regular members, 10. I think we have more people off the mountain visit us than on the mountain. And that's crazy to think about it like that. I mean, oh, we love our community, but you don't support it. You know, uh, I said this on Facebook, and I'm going to stop here so we can take a break. Uh, I was saying that our community is got it backwards. Our government needs to take care of everybody. No, they don't. If you went to church and took care of your church would take care of the widows and the kids. That's where the church first come into place. You know why the church can't take care of them? Because you're not taking care of the church no more, right? All these people paying their money into the government don't need to take care of you. I said that to a guy in Virginia, right? Because I said, all you want is handouts, right? His biggest complaint about what our government is doing is because they didn't give him money. Oh, he promised $2,000. And what were you done with that $2,000? Joe Biden gave the president, yeah, Joe Biden gave us all that money. Where's that at? Oh, we spent it. I mean, government can give you money. All you're going to do is spend it. I mean, I get usually a refund every year, and I don't have it no more. You know, it's gone. You know, we get like that. We spend our money. You know, it's so easy to do that, right? But we vested in our church and we could help people. Imagine what our rewards would be. I love that our church at one time had a food bank. I would love to do it again, but we just can't because we don't have members that are supporting us because we're a great community. No, you're not. You know what I mean? You're hell bent on fire for hell, and that's where you're going. I mean, hopefully some people from Suck Creek Mountain are watching this today, right? If you are, hey, we'd love to see you in person. You know, I'm going to go start saying stuff on the community until they really do boot me off. Look like they already kicked one of my messages today. You know, hey, guess what? If you don't want to love God, that's fine. But I'm going to let you know that you're an evil area, you know, and I will put it everywhere I can that you don't support your churches. You don't go to church. You don't love God. You're absent. Here, last one. I know. I'm sorry. A man stopped going to church, and his pastor waited about a month and went and go saw him. And man, it was November, kind of chilly out, burning a fire. Pastor sat. He said, "Hey, Pastor, pull up a chair." Sat down. They were talking about fishing things. Pastor didn't say anything about it. He saw this red hot piece of coal off to the side, took a pair of tongs, and just put it on the concrete right beside him. Right, and he about 30 minutes of them just talking. He went to go pick up that thing, and the man said, "Man, that's gonna burn you. That's gonna burn you." And he goes, "No, it's been away from the fire, and it's lost its burn." He threw it back in. Within about 5 minutes, that thing was blazing red again, right? And the man goes, "I'll see you at church on Sunday." When we get away from the fire, we'll cool down, and we won't be burning for the Lord no more. We learn we get away from the fire. See, at first you ever see the one where the branch breaks and it kind of rolls off to the side, but it's still burning, but slowly. So a fire burning good, now it's barely, then it gets away and it cools down. That's the way we do church. We miss a Sunday, miss it, then we get finally cool down, right? I've been there, done that, right? We're getting absent away from the church, and we wonder why our life is so messed up. We wonder why. I mean, I've seen people have good lives and still commit suicide. And you go, why? Because they're not happy. I'd rather be broke, struggling for money, and happy than be rich and unhappy. And there's way too many people that are rich. Because I'll be honest with you, I'll never be president. Because if I was president, right, and they treated me like they treat half our president, I don't care if you're Democrat, Republican, way they treat our presidents, right, I would kick half of them out of this country, right? Because you wouldn't have the states doing what they're doing. Each one of these states acting like fools, I would shut them down and take them over with the military. You're like, you can't Yes, I would. That's why I say I'll never be president, because I would shut these states down, right? Because I can't believe our president haven't gone any what he did in D.C. with crime rate. I know. All right, let me pray and I'll talk in a second. Our dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this moment. Thank you for all your many blessings. Just give us great church service and bless this Sunday school hour. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.